In this video, we're now going to build two classes that each implement the interface that we've created. Check it out. Okay, we've got the sales reporting interface, and what I've created is a basic class called Widget Shop, and I've added the keyword implements sales reporting. So sales reporting is my interface right here, and it implements it. Now, when I first typed this in, I got the red line just like I did with the abstract class, and I chose the helper link to implement unimplemented methods, right? Which it came down here and dumped these in with to-dos. Well, printing a title is pretty simple, so I just said print the title with some underlining. And for the calculate sales tax, multiply these two numbers together and return it. So the implementation in sales reporting interface is pretty simple. Okay, and I did that way on purpose. So let's look at this thing overall. Widget Shop implements sales reporting. By implementing that, I must have these two methods defined. Their override, just like, so at override is just like an abstract class, because I'm really doing the exact same thing, but I'm not extending another class. I'm just implementing this interface. Okay? My constructors are all chained, and you'll notice super here is just calling basically object, the default initializer, because there's no parent class, okay, other than object, right? So there's nothing to do to pass any other values. I haven't inherited anything other than from object, okay? So this is just a straight up class that's implementing sales reporting, okay, with chain constructors. So I'm going to close those down because they're basically trivial. Here's my getters and setters. Again, I have not inherited any getters and setters in this class because this is just basically a POCO class, a plain old class object that I've created. Now, I did do something new here. I created two constants. By declaring something static, final, and their type, I'm saying these are never going to change. So the naming convention means I use all caps and underscores, and I give it a hard value and it never changes. So in this particular case, a widget has a price of $4.99. Not going to change. Sales tax is 7%. So those are constants in my program. But now I can refer to those wherever I want. So down here, for example, in my display widget, this is my dump method that I usually have, I can actually call calculate sales tax, and I can pass it my total, okay? And where do I get total from? Total is my get units sold times my price. So I literally read this field, how many units have I sold, times the price that never changes, and that's going to be the total that I'm going to pass into calculate my sales tax. Okay? So I'm using two constants, the price times the units sold and the sales tax times my total sales to build my report. Okay? And that's really all I'm doing. So let's go to the top and make one more pass. I have a public class called Widget Shop that implements sales reporting. I've got two fields. So I've got some constructors and some getters and setters so that I can change those fields if I want. And I've got two constants, how much each one costs and the sales price. And the only real work I do in here is in my display widget where I print the report, calculate the total of my sales, which would normally occur somewhere else, but I'm trying to keep this short, right? So my total times the sales price is passed to this method that I implement here. In fact, if you look here, print sales report title, and I give it the title, so I'm using both of these inside here. So in a sense, in this particular class, these have become basically helper methods. These are methods that I access from one of my methods, and they do some of the work, so this method doesn't have to. Okay? It's kind of cool. All right, so that's the widget shop. Now, let's take a look at my other one called Advertising Consultants. Now, this is a completely different type of organization. They're not selling widgets. They have clients that they charge on a monthly basis. So it doesn't make sense for these two organizations to have a common parent. But it does make sense for them to have common functionality. So in this case, we're keeping the number of monthly clients and the monthly rate that they get charged. And they're in a different state, so their sales tax is only 6%. They implement sales reporting, and I have not done a very good job with my constructors here, so I'm going to fix that now. I use the old school here. So I'm going to call this with the number of monthly clients, which we'll call 0 and 0. And then this one, I'm going to call this with the number of monthly clients. So num monthly clients and 0. Let's fix the spelling there. Get rid of that. And then here, we're good to go. And I need a semicolon. So that should tidy up my constructors. So I'm going to go ahead and fold those closed. And then my getters and setters are pretty standard, because those are for the fields that I have. And they are nothing like. There's no inheritance, because again, this is a basic plain old class object, or a POCO class, that I've created. Okay? Now, I have also implemented the two methods, and I've got this funkier looking title here that I did. All right, for my print sales report title. And I'm still calculating the sales tax basically the same way, but it's based on different variables. Okay, it's a different constant, and it's a different type of sales. All right, and I'm using them as helper methods in my display again, and it's called display add firm. So this method even has a different name, but I'm using the same type of functionality. Okay. So in the third video, we're actually going to use these and show the common functionality, like similar to what we did in abstract class, but these are wildly different classes that just have the same common function through the interface. Welcome back. So now we have two classes that are different, and they each implement the interface that we did in the first interface video. So in the next video, we're simply going to create objects from those classes and exercise them so that you can see it works.